If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members.
We are back. I'm Chris Evans, the CEO of Survival Dispatch, and tonight I'm joined by Mike Sterling. He's backstage right now. We're going to be discussing being safe at gas stations and how to react if confronted, assaulted, robbed, or caught in the crossfire of a robbery or an altercation. Mike and I have covered this topic numerous times in the past. Felt like it was time for a refresher on it. Before we do that, I've got short message from our friends at Atomic. So this episode sponsored by Atomic, in addition to CCW Safe, Carnival, and Wasatch Wagyu. And I think that covers the bases. But if you missed last night, y'all might remember me mentioning the copper company that was trading as a penny stock a few months ago. And we've got some members in the Guardians community that bought in at something like 3 cents a share. And it went over $1 a share in the blink of an eye. And so a number of our Guardians made out like bandits. Hats off to them. You know, good job. I'm not an investment guy. I'm not giving you investment advice. It's just that I have I have a fairly deep Rolodex, and I get a lot of guidance from people saying, hey, you should look at this, you should look at that. So with that being said, there's an interesting development with regards to uranium in our country, pardon me. So earlier this year in January, the Department of Energy committed $2.7 billion to restart domestic uranium enrichment. So that's not net new spending. It was basically a mandate that said, we need uranium. We especially need an American uranium, and we need it now. So the numbers are pretty staggering when they were covered with me. So here's the problem. We use over 50 million pounds of uranium a year, and we produce less than 1 million pounds domestically. So we have a 98% foreign dependency on a critical national security resource, while Russia, of all places, controls major global enrichment, and Greenland basically shut down their mining. I don't know why, but they did. So here's the play from my source. There's a company called Atomic Minerals, and they trade as Atom in Canada and ATMMF here in the US. These guys are positioned perfectly. I mean, I think a lot of people in these industries are very prescient. They read the tea leaves. They read they got a better crystal ball than lots of us have. But just like the copper company, this is a team that has a proven track record of success. You know, the copper company, if you remember, they had found some or bought some like silver mining operations, exploded into billions of dollars. Well, these guys have done it before, and they had this thing, it was called the Rough Rider discovery. Bottom line is they sold it for $654 million to a company named Rio Tinto. So pretty amazing return on investment. So these guys at Atom, they've got the assets. They're perfectly positioned for what's going on here. They have 4 100% owned uranium projects in Colorado. So this is like where most of the uranium is in our country, and South Lisbon Valley in East Utah as well. So these are proven, you know, areas to draw uranium from. Like I said, that's where most of our stuff is when we used to mine and supply ourselves. But these guys have got some serious momentum now because the White House invoked Section 232. And y'all might be familiar with this. What that is it formally ties energy security to national security. So as a result of that, uranium prices are going up. Drill programs are already active. Results are already coming in. So at the end of the day, you've got a government mandate for us to be uranium independent again. You've got this team at Atom with experienced leadership. They have all these strategic U.S. assets. Atomic Minerals. These are the guys to watch. So there's a link down below in the video description for those of you who are interested. And I'll put a ticker across the bottom here with a little bit more information in a second. So with that being said, I want to welcome back Survival Dispatch News Chief Curmudgeon in control. I don't know what's the actual title. Chief Curmudgeon of the board. Of
Resident grumpy guy. I don't know.
That works well.
Hey, I'm back. That's what matters.
I got to ask you a quick question before you roll into the conflicted question. How do we end up not mining our own uranium, Mike? I mean, this is your wheelhouse.
So the whole thing is weird to me. Well, one, the EPA gets in the way of us mining uranium big time. We extract humongous quantity of uranium. I've worked up a lot of the oil field up in Wyoming. I work.
They got your feedback loop happening again.
Didn't do it this time. It's not me. I did not. But I swear to God,
it's kind of like
that.
Yeah, you're good now. It's kind of like a karaoke machine, just different.
It's weird. Anyway, so we extract massive quantities of it up there in Wyoming and Colorado. I don't know why anybody says that we don't. We don't actually mine ore anymore. They use a chemical extraction these days, but I really don't know why we need to. I was on that mission in 1996 where we brought in 52, I believe it was 52 C5A sorties of fully refined rods and ingots of the highest quality U-236, U-238, and plutonium ever made out of Kazakhstan. And we brought it all into Oak Ridge. And I don't know why they're not using it, or maybe they've used it all already. I don't know. How do we go through that much? I don't know.
So the number they threw out there is 50 million pounds a year is what we go through, but we only
that's raw ore.
Yeah. So big numbers regardless. I hope that everything works out for our guardians like it did on the copper stuff, because we had some really happy people who said, hey, I bought it 3 cents, sold over $1. So pretty you can't beat it with a stick. That's right. So before we get into the main topic of the night, which is a good one, it's a good time for a refresher on it. Let's hit up the conflicted question of the night. And of course, you're always in charge of this when you're here. Let her rip.
Okay. Hey, during his long poem, Morgan faced with a difficult moral situation. Ooh, moral. Wanted to remain anonymous and keep a low profile as possible, but he 2 men forcing will upon the weak. There was no one around but himself to try and stop these men. He would either think of his family for keep a safe distance or relieve his conscience and try to carry out justice. If you in Morgan's situation, would you get involved in other people's problems with your life at risk? Or would you be safe and just keep walking home to your family?
So now we've got all kinds of static coming out here. Like if there's ever a problem, it's always audio, right? But yeah, a lot of static coming out of that. So I'm just going to rip it off quickly as well. During his long trip home, Morgan was faced with a difficult moral situation. He wanted to remain anonymous and keep a low profile as much as possible. But he saw 2 men forcing their will upon the weak. There was no one around but himself to try and stop these men. He would either have to think of his family first and keep a safe distance, or relieve his conscience and try to carry out justice. If you were in Morgan's situation, would you get involved in other people's problems and put your life at risk, or would you keep, safe and just keep walking home to your family? So let's go ahead and hit us with your audio now, Mike. See if that cleared it up.
Okay, how's that?
No, you got some serious crackling going on. It sounds kind of like a loose connection.
Okay.
Still got it.
I don't know how to have it when there is no connection. How about that?
No, lots of static.
How about that?
There you go.
There we go. Okay. For
So,
God's sakes.
all right. So
Technology hates me.
don't move. Don't drink. Just like stay in the same position for the balance of the podcast. It'll be fine.
You go to the next section. It's wireless, dude.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the sit rep, the Command 11 sit rep of the night. Of course, we've got some crazy stuff lined up before we get into being gas station ready. I'm dying to hear some of Mike's comments. So, Mike, for the longest time, there's been all these people saying somebody, had the SSRI eyes, and it doesn't really roll off the tongue. So instead of the 1,000-yard stare, I came up with this 1,000-milligram stare. And as it turns out, that's just entry level apparently for these people, because many of them have like a 10,000 milligram stare from the SSRIs. This one is a pretty good example of mental illness, the mental illness epidemic that we're suffering. So this liberal teacher's on the verge of meltdown, props up her phone like therapy, records her existential despair, and posts online. Olympic level cell phone. We're just here with popcorn in the front row watching liberalism devour itself. Minute and 38. I don't think we can make it through the whole thing. But what I do want to know from the audience, is this the 1,000 milligram stare or something larger? So if it's 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, just put the number in the live chat and we'll see who wins out.
Hey, y'all, fuck Donald Trump. My God, this emotional roller coaster. I don't know if anybody else.
To stop it, Mike. I mean, let me get your opinion before we go any further. How many milligrams is this one, in your professional opinion?
Dude, that's like 4,000 or 5,000. Here in the chat. Come on, I know at least one a year that'll say, I can fix her. Come on, raise your hand. Which one of you can fix?
I'm going to let it play a little bit more.
I just had to get on here and is anybody else feel like they are absolutely going?
Look at that right there. That's the 1,000 milligram or more than 1,000 milligram. Yeah, we've already got people weighing in. Actually, somebody is saying that's lithium. It's not just SSRIs, it's lithium as well.
Not lithium. In my experience, lithium with her head at the desk.
Well, let's let her up here.
Crazy, just like, God, I don't know. It was just like people were asking me, oh, how's it going? How was your weekend? Oh, it was good. No, it wasn't good. I had to say good, but it wasn't good. Nothing about this weekend was good. Literally, I did hit a high point yesterday where I was feeling pretty good, but my God, I'm all I can do today is look at all of my sweet little kiddos at school and all the kids in the hall and in the cafeteria. And I'm like, my God, this is not the world that we cannot leave the world like this for them. And I don't know. I just can't understand why something's not happening. And the people that are supposed to, God, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's no one left to protect us except for ourselves. I don't know. So anyway.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. I'm just going to throw a couple things at you, Mike, just to see, if you've been following this SSRI epidemic. Number one, about 6 months ago, somebody ran this massive poll, and I can't speak to the veracity of it, but the numbers are pretty interesting. They had tens of thousands of people respond to the poll, and 62% of white women between the ages of 20 and 50 said that they were on SSRIs, which in my mind means it's probably 80% of them are on SSRIs, number one. Number two.
So you said 60%?
62% were self-admitted.
62%. There is a scary part to that. You know what that means? That means that 38% of the other women aren't medicated.
What?
Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
Oh, well done. Hence the reason you're the chief curmudgeon of the board. Well done. Anyway, another part to this, a while ago, I started looking into it thinking, this is just freaking crazy. And what I found was that the top side effects of SSRIs are suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, And whatever's wrong with them, you know, whether it's mental illness, anxiety, whatever, that in most cases, not all, but in most cases, SSRIs actually amplify those mental problems. So I'm pretty convinced, Mike, we're actually living in a parallel universe to The Walking Dead, but instead of being bit by somebody and getting a virus, they've essentially turned themselves into zombies with SSRIs. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. So anyway, moving on from there, it looks like we got some, wow. So get this, India, this guy, so we had a lot of censorship lately, Mike. I'm looking up here at CommieTube, and guy just got censored for saying birth control pills make some women go off. Well, yeah, I mean, it affects estrogen. So I'm gonna get this, India. Kurt's got censored by CommieTube for saying she needs a bigger dose, and Stewart got censored for saying 5,000 milligrams. Plus, she has the menopause wine. Oh boy, them's just fighting words, right? Buff the Cat says SSRI plus menopause meds. Hey, I could go all night because CommieTube censors the shit out of everybody these days. But anyway,
right?
We'll move on.
The point.
We will move on from there to the next exhibit in our sit rep here, which is heavily focused on the mental illness epidemic. This is unreal stuff. Just finished my third dilation of the day. Seems like that's all I ever do anymore. Another life saved. This is a dude who had his shit cut off. The mental illness is just off the chain.
Hey,
okay.
You're all doing well. This is day 7 or day 8 post vaginoplasty revision. I just finished up my third dilation of the day. It's exhausting. It seems that it's all I do anymore. But my girlfriend and my bestie are downstairs playing Mario Kart with my son, and I just need a minute to decompress, relax, get my breath back. Things are coming along really well. My energy is still pretty good until a little bit after lunch, and I'm kind of tired. So that's to be expected, coming back from major surgery. But everything seems to be going well. I've regained control of my bladder, so yay. I guess we'll take the small victories where we can get them, and just keep up on the pelvic floor exercises. And
okay, I can't take it anymore. I don't know if you want to comment on this or not, Mike, but this is...
I don't need to. I mean, we can just look in the comments section, and it's all...
Yeah, we gotta... I don't know. I can't even come up with an audience poll for this one. It's just... I'll say this. In 1951, we peaked with 551,000 inpatient beds in psychiatric care facilities. We now have less than 40,000 inpatient beds across the country. And so by my estimation, the population has gone up dramatically since then. We probably have, at a bare minimum, and it's probably way higher than this, 5 to 10 million mental cases running around that should be probably locked up like this. I mean,
I have a question, and of course, it's big pharma, and it's just a question I ask to everybody here. Why is it that the side effects from modern drugs have to be insanity, linkage, things like why we have cool side effects, like the fly or something like that. What's wrong with them?
I don't know, but this is really cool. So we were getting a major echo off you there. And as I told you, they forced us to go to this enterprise package. So now we pay $400 a month. We paid $89 before. I can actually edit your microphone from here, and I just hit echo cancellation and poof, gone.
I had echo cancellation on earlier and it was doing it.
Well, it's working perfect now that I adjusted it. And there's also an option to reduce background noise. So I just checked that as well. So hopefully that gets us out of the woods here on the audio front.
But again, where's my cool side effects versus these crazy side effects? Come on. I want some cool side effects.
I don't know that they exist, Mike. I mean, that might be pie in the sky sort of thinking, but check this one out. ICE just pulled handguns on professional leftist stalkers, following them in Minneapolis, making arrests. Yes, these people are organized criminals who only have intentions to ambush police, make mass arrests. They are dangerous. 1 minute, 34 seconds. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's not necessary.
Hey, I need you to back up. You need to back up. Stay safe. They're pointing handguns at the drivers in the vehicle right now. Hey, get back. You guys need to stay back. You can record, but you gotta be back. Hey, open the fucking door. I need you to back up a little bit more. Hey, get back. Hey, get the fuck back. Back. Hey, no, don't get on the road. Stay back over here. Okay. You guys can take pictures, you just need to stay back.
So basically, Mike, these people were interfering with ICE like they've been doing all along. That's not somebody said that's a pretty gentle takedown. I agree. Give me your thoughts on this bullshit of these people.
I mean, you shouldn't be messing with these people in the first place and messing with the operations that they've got running. Now, my personal favorite, the one that I saw earlier today, I don't know if you saw it, but there was there was one of their guys who was playing designated Fox for the crazies, and he got into a big traffic circle, and he's got like 10 Subarus following him, and he just went round and round and round and round in this traffic circle for like 15 minutes straight. And all these Subarus following him the whole time before they finally got mad and broke off. It was hilarious.
I did see that. I'll tell you what, I've got a question. What's the attraction to Subarus for these people? Because it's pretty consistent, you know.
Well, it's lesbians.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If there's anybody in the audience who wants to enlighten us as to why they have this affinity for Subarus, is it like a badge of honor or something? Do you think? You know, it's like, woohoo, carpet muncher over here. You know,
and it's terrible. Lesbians used to be our allies, and you know what? I still think many of them are. But you know, I had a lesbian roommate for a while, and it was great.
Well, I mean, I got to confess, I've been a lesbian trapped in a man's body for going on 56, 57 years now. So, but I don't drive a Subaru, just for the record. So, anyways, moving on to Ben Berkman. He's a great guy, by the way. We met him, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. This is crazy. Minneapolis is now run by a bunch of communist jihadist thugs. Not a single cop was present as these anti-American, anti-ICE activists took over the streets. This is what defund the police got you. Mobs rather than the rule of law now controlling major cities in America. Minneapolis has fallen. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. It's only 40 seconds.
Not a single cop out here. They're letting the protests, the activists, control the entire city right now, shutting the streets down. There are no cops out here. This is what abolish the police looks like. You got these leftists in their yellow jackets. No, who knows what kind of training they have? Who knows? I'm sure they gave it to them, but who knows what training they have? These guys are out here shutting streets down. I can't imagine the liability that this puts the city in if something bad happens. That's crazy. Minneapolis has fallen, guys. We got.
So, I mean, Mike, you've got these people now having stop checks where they're checking people's tags to see if they're in their ICE database. You've got this stuff going on downtown. You have zero police presence. I mean, we haven't had a chance to discuss this at all, but I mean, how do we fix this?
Well, you can't fix it because 2/3 of Minneapolis Police Department and any adjoining law enforcement agencies have called in sick with the blue flu. for
No
weeks now. Oh yeah, dude, they're just not coming to work. Or and I'm hearing that a whole bunch of them are doing the same thing that Atlanta PD did during the Summer of Love. They'll go in and they'll get dispatched to go out. They'll go out to the parking lot, sit in their car, say that they're dispatching out, and just sit there in the parking lot in their car and not respond. They're not crazy. They're not stupid. They don't want to die. And they definitely know that their mayor is not going to back them. The
Yeah.
chief of police is not going to back them. You've got to get rid of the top. You've got to get rid of the entire top leadership of that PD. And you've got to get rid of that mayor, which, you know, the whole indictments are going to be coming for the what was it that they were doing up there? God, I got so much dumb stuff running around in my head. The daycares, the Somali daycares.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mayor's on the indictment list too. So
I caught that. That straight up treason is what's going on there. But moving on to the next one here, we don't want to leave the liberal men out either. So this discouraged liberal wants to know why President Trump has not been ripped off his throne and executed. Let's go Buffalo tag Secret Service to say this person really needs a visit. I've included a picture of his profile in the comments below. 28 seconds.
How is he still in power? Why have we not physically ripped him out of his throne and executed him in the street? If even half of what's said in there is true, he deserves a lot worse than that.
I got to back this up just a little bit here.
well, at least he had an equal opportunity to ignore his education when he was young and has no clue how the government actually runs.
Yeah, that much is clear. There's no soul behind these eyes at all. I don't know that this guy's like in the 10,000 milligram range, but he's definitely 1,000 milligram stare, maybe better. Let's just say if y'all think he's got the 1,000 milligram stare, put a 1 in the live chat. If you think it's greater than 1,000 milligrams, put a 2 in the live chat, and we'll see how that comes out.
Husker's got it. Living in mommy's basement, 1,000K.
Nailed it. Good job. Well,
Telling you, you're on it, Husker. You're on it.
Well, I'm really interested to hear what people have to say with this one. And forewarning, if you have youngins around, there's a fair bit of profanity in this rant from this nutcase here. Devin says 1,000 bong hits deep. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, like I say, if you got youngins around, get your headphones in before I hit play on this one. This liberal woman is severely unhinged. What advice would you give her? 15 seconds.
Fuck this fucking government. Fuck this administration. Fuck Trump and all these fucking billionaires trying to fucking exterminate democracy as we fucking know it. Our senators, our House of Representatives, our Congress, all these fucking democracy as we fucking know.
All right. So
you notice that her eye on the right-hand side of the screen really doesn't move much. The left side of the screen, that's moving all over the place, but the one on the right side of the screen, she's got some additional neurological damage going on in there.
Well, so, I mean, here's the deal, y'all. Put a 1 in the live chat if you think she is, SSRI addict. She got the 1,000 milligram stare or then some. Put a 2 in the live chat if you believe she's demonic. And put a 3 in the live chat if you think she has the 1,000+ milligram stare plus she's demonic. I know where I'm going number 3. Mike, what's your judgment on this one here?
I'm going number 4.
What's number 4?
Oh, she's over medicated and she needs a good Hispanic abuela to beat her to death with a chancla.
So if y'all want to go with number 4, you can change your vote, you know, if that's what, because we've got a whole lot of 3s popping up on different.
We got a long line of 3s in one of those.
Unreal. Wait to see this one. So the comment, this is community notes and violations, which is a joke, of course, not officially, and says absolutely no correlation whatsoever. 31 seconds, another display of the mental illness epidemic plaguing our country.
So obvious you're trans. Oh, I can tell you're trans. Name 3 books that you've read in 2025. Give me the titles and the authors. Tell me the last time that you got your news not off Instagram or Facebook. Can I see your Google search history? Oh, okay.
What does that have to do with you having a penis? Like, what does that have to do with that? I don't understand how all of that correlates to you having a nutsack. Like, make it make sense. Like,
the first time I watched that, I wasn't expecting to be coming.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, man. It was beautiful.
I mean, I don't even know what to ask the audience on this one. I mean, kudos to him for coming out of nowhere.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. All right. We can move on to the next one here. Oh, wow. I'm amazed how well composed Melinda Gates is here. I mean, she obviously divorced Bill because of all of his, call it, immoral behavior. But I'm going to let her speak for herself. 1 minute, 15 seconds. She clearly knows a lot more than what she's saying. She hedges her words pretty well here, probably because she doesn't want to give the many billions back to him that he had to give her when they divorced.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth, right? And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life.
Mike, thoughts in general of some of the information that's come out recently from the Epstein files? No surprises as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, there's no surprises there at all. I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
This woman didn't do anything wrong, and her dirtbag husband is dragging everything home to her. Awful nice of him.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Yeah. So the next video here, I know you follow the food stuff pretty closely. This is unreal now what they've done to the beef industry. They've done a ton of things, right? The national herd's half the size it used to be. All kinds of crazy things driving farmers out of business by design. But this one here really screws the consumer. So Mike, they can now put mRNA into the cattle, and they don't have to say that it's GMO, because GMO now has this, bad connotation that it earned. And I'm trying to think of they've replaced it with a new term. Cindy's mentioned it a few times, something like, biologically enhanced or something like that, some bullshit term that's replaced the GMO. But this is brutal here. Several states have confirmed they will be using mRNA vaccines on their livestock. Food that has been genetically edited can now be marketed as non-GMO.
Editing is now officially in our meat industry. Lobbyists for the cattlemen and pork associations in several states have confirmed that they will be using the mRNA COVID vaccines on their livestock. Attorney Tom Renz has been warning that there is no law requiring anyone to give informed consent for vaccine food. There are no laws requiring anyone to tell you the food you are buying has been vaxxed with the spike protein clot shot. The UK recently passed into law the Genetic Technology Precision Breeding Bill. The bill amends the Environmental Protection Act of 1990 to exclude references to precision-bred organisms so far as they relate to marketing. Precision-bred organism is another term for gene-edited. So now in the UK, food that's been gene-edited can be legally marketed as non-GMO. And if this UK gene-edited meat makes its way to America, it can be labeled non-GMO here as well. And so long as it's butchered in America, it can be labeled product of USA. The fake alternative meat being pushed by Bill Gates and others is made of immortal cell lines.
All right, so you've got your own chickens, you've got an epic garden. How's the regular person going to escape this? I don't think they can.
I don't think they can either. You know, the absolute best thing that you can do is just get with you know, into your local co-ops, buy your meat from the local farmers and ranchers. That's the best thing. I mean, if you can't grow it yourself, buy it from somebody who does grow it themselves. That's the absolute best thing that I can say to even do, because boy, I'll tell you what, that's what I've been doing. You know, taking my own deer, getting cattle from a local, or getting my beef and pork from a local source, my own chickens. Yeah. Because that's not good. That's not good at all.
So
and I can't understand how that's not getting shot square in the neck by RFK Jr.
Right. Exactly. I'm black pilled these days, in case you didn't get the memo. I mean, I think it's all bullshit. But
yeah,
get this into you. Cindy found these good old boys in the country out State Road 100 towards San Mateo, and super friendly people, Mike. They had a, you know, kind of like a Quonset hut set up with all kinds of food products, et cetera, et cetera. And she read me this thing that they posted on their social media last week that said, we cannot say very much, but we have been shut down, and we want to thank everybody, you know, for patronizing us. So you can put all this crap into food, but you can't sell unpasteurized milk, you know, all kinds of things like that. That's just insanity. I do want to mention this. So on the mRNA stuff, the biggest negative side effect is the spike proteins that happen as a result of the mRNA. So there's a product called nattokinase, Nattokinase, and no side effects. It says you might get them. I'm taking it. It doesn't have any side effects for me, at least. And it actually nukes the spike protein, and it does all kinds of other things as well, as far as heart health is concerned and whatnot. So I'm going to go get my blood tested here after taking it for a couple months. We'll see what happens. But I'm a pure blood. I've never had the mRNA stuff. Here's an update for you, Mike. You know what we went through with one dog after another with cancer, right?
Right. Yep.
And you know that our local water supply had PFAS forever chemicals, some of them 500% higher than the safe level.
Right.
We decided we're not going to vaccinate our dogs anymore, maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. Mysteriously, all of the mast cell tumors have gone away. Everything's gone away. And now we're reading all kinds of stuff on these animal vaccines, like the rabies vaccine, for example. Whether I can't say if it causes cancer or not, what I can say is there's a lot of professionals out there that say it's a one and done. You do not need to do it every single year. And by doing it every year, you're actually, potentially hurting your dogs. But all the other stuff that they pumped our dogs full of, It is got, some carcinogenic aspects to it. And before we move on, because I have one more video for the sit rep before we get into the main topic, with what's going on in our meat industry, could not be a better time for y'all to go to carnivalt.com and either sign up for a subscription or buy some of their products. I don't know if you've seen this or not, Mike, but this bag of freeze-dried raw meat, raw beef, 100% American, no antibiotics, no mRNA, no histamines. It only weighs 6 ounces. You rehydrate it in 5 to 10 minutes, it turns into 1.5 pounds of high quality beef. Of course, you can cook however you want. These guys are fanatical. Number one, they're hardcore Americans. The bags are made in America. The O2 absorbers are made in America. 100% American beef. None of the baloney going on in them. It's we're getting emails now from people, Mike, from people who are saying it's nice that it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's nice that we can put it in the pantry, but we're eating it every day now because we just don't trust the meat sources out there. So kudos to Carnivalt for that. And I'll put a link in the live chat in a minute, and discount code Eat Meat. And the other one is, I don't know if you've had a chance to try this crack cocaine or not, but Wasatch Wagyu jerky, this stuff is, because of the good fat content, is off the freaking chain. Like, I mean, off the chain. The dill pickle, for the record, sucks. It's my cross to bear. I will look after all the dill pickle. I told Greg that I'd look after that for him. And by the way, the ghost pepper is no joke at all. Jeff MD ate one on air the other night ago. Went 30 minutes without taking a drink. So hats off to Jeff for that one. But
nice.
Greg's a great guy. I called him today. We were discussing some stuff. Discount code SD25 is back on, 25% off. And if you buy over $99, he'll send you a 4-ounce bag of their original jerky, which, by the way, you remember how good the potatoes are from Nutrient Survival?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I take the Nutrient Survival potatoes, the Nutrient Survival butter, which is all dehydrated powder, freeze-dried powder. And then I put Wasatch Wagyu jerky in it, stir the whole thing up. It's amazing. Stick to your ribs in these, these temperatures. I mean, we're in a state emergency here in Florida. It's been below 70 for almost a week now. So,
God, how will you survive without having your flip-flops on?
Well, it's a wonder that we're still here, to be quite honest with you. It's crazy.
I mean, it's amazing that you haven't been struck over the head with a frozen iguana yet.
Did you see that people are cooking the dang things down in South Florida?
Iguana's tasty, man.
Iguana tacos in Fort Lauderdale. All right, so last video for the sit rep, then we're going to get into the main topic, and it's a good one. Mike has a lot of experience in this. We've done some scenario training on this together. This video, Mike, represents the end of the internet. Thank God this is being recorded, and I go back and get a screenshot of your face.
No more internet for you.
I told you that's
You're
the
done.
end. That's
You're
it.
done.
It's the end.
That's enough internet for one day. You are going to your room after this is over.
I put that up just for you, by the way. Welcome back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is you go looking for stuff like that just to push my buttons.
I did. There's people in the live chat saying "stop it" with 10 exclamation points.
Yeah, is that Randy? Yeah.
Oh,
it did look kind of like Randy, didn't it? It did look a little like him.
Those are fighting words. Holy shit! Shots fired. Shots fired.
I have to twist. I don't have a choice.
The mad bombers throwing bombs at Randy Nance. Whoo-wee. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the main topic of the night, which is being gas station ready. Again, Mike and I've covered this numerous times in the past, but it's time for a refresher, because gas stations, well, here's the deal. Gas stations and convenience stores, which are together in many instances, but even when they're separate, are both considered top 5 places to be assaulted, and that's according to the FBI crime stats on it. So going to the gas station in the wrong part of town, the wrong time of day, or even the right time, you know, it could be an issue. We did some great training at WAFT. What was that, Mike? Maybe 6 months ago or something like that. And
that was almost a year ago.
No, the last one when Luke got dragged out of the car
and squealed like a little girl. You forgot that. Yeah, that was almost a year ago.
It was a minute, that's for sure. So what I'm getting at, Mike can attest to it. So WAFT, where our family's training, it's in Groveland, Florida, in the middle of nowhere. If you go to their website and you look it up, they don't even give you the address until you're approved to be there. They've got a chopper pad that Grant Cardone paid to put in so he can fly his family up in his private helicopter and train at WAFT. It's a 20-acre facility, but we were doing this gas station training scenarios, and Mike came in, set the bar at the top, and handled it like a boss. I've got the videos to prove it. And then this young lad who just graduated from high school, he goes after Mike, and it could not have been worse. He got dragged to the ground by a girl who was as big around as my pinky.
Screamed the whole time.
He got drug around the car to the other side until Philip, who owns it, Philip Tapino, put a stop to it. The funniest part, though, you missed, Mike. Or, yeah, you went home straight from WAFT, right? Yeah, you missed this. So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. The boys got to get a flight out of Orlando first thing. So they're leaving here at like 4 a.m. So they didn't even bother going to bed. And Luke is texting his girlfriend back home in Illinois, and he starts shaking his head.
I remember this.
Somebody says to him, "What are you shaking your head for?" He says, "Well, I texted the video to my girlfriend, and she texted me back and said, it's good to know that you can't defend me."
Good to know. She said, it's good to know that I'm going to have to defend myself, that you're not going to be able to.
Oh my God. It was funny.
Oh man, that kid's ego just got walked into an alleyway and shot in the back of the head. It was awful. The poor kid. I felt so bad for him. I still laughed, but you know, I felt bad.
It was something else. So anyway, with that being said, segment 1 is titled Understanding Vulnerability at Gas Stations. So gas stations put people at risk for a number of reasons. Many times people are distracted. They've got their wallets out. They've got their phones in their hand, like their weapon of mass distraction, their face buried in it. The car doors aren't locked, and maybe, you know, the woman's pocketbook is sitting on the front seat. It's just easy targets. Criminals will always go for the easy targets. They never go after the hard targets. So there's a number of things that you can do as far as situational awareness is concerned, as far as scanning your surroundings as you pull in. If it's nighttime, pull up somewhere where it's well lit, where the pumps are well lit, with good visibility for yourself, but also hopefully to somebody inside if they were to spot you being accosted. And just getting into some proper habits, like keep your head up. Don't get your phone out in particular while you're at the gas pumps. Don't get trapped between the gas pump and your car and the gas hose. You know, the way we do it, like when we travel to Georgia, Mike, Cindy stays in the truck. The doors are locked. I started up after I've done my survey of the fuel. I walk 20 feet away. I stand 20 feet away watching what everybody's doing. You wouldn't believe the stares I get from people. But even when we were surrounded in the hood by accident, because of accidents and detours, I did the same thing. And nobody attacks if they don't have the element of surprise, unless they're all jacked up on something or other, right? So
well, you saw what I did at the last exercise at WAFT, where I intentionally started dropping things and acting like I wasn't paying attention. And when we were all done, the guys that I were against, they were both like, "Oh no, that was bait." They were like, "You were literally baiting us to come after you because you just wanted to smoke somebody." And I said, "Yes."
it was well done. I mean, there wasn't a person there who didn't agree that Mike did an amazing job on it. And here's the thing is the way Philip always puts it, he says, what we're doing is an ink blot. This scenario will never, ever happen exactly the same again, but you're training yourself to, react autonomically. You don't have to stop and think, oh, I should do this or I should do that. And Mike did a great job. He had previous training. Some other people like Luke, not so great, but I mean, he's young and he'll learn. Mike, what do you think the most frequent everyday distraction is at the pump that you see people engaging in that makes them vulnerable? Yeah, that's right.
Every time it's the phone or just watching people zone out. And I travel a lot.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of people at gas stations, and yeah, probably a good third of them are just zoned. They're just like staring at the pump, or they're staring at something on their car, or anything at all, but they are not present. They are not present in the moment at all.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of the things I wanted to cover is choosing the best pump, the best place to pull up to when you get to the gas station. I'll just tell you a couple of my things. I never pull up to a pump where there's somebody at a pump in front of me and blocking me. If I have no means of egress, like if somebody pulls behind me, I got a guy in front of me, I don't want to be in that situation. So I'll make sure that I get the pump on the end where I can escape if need be. But I also try to get as close to the convenience store part as possible so that there's more eyeballs as opposed to the perimeters. What are your thoughts, Mike, on what pumps you should pull up to as a general rule of thumb?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, yes, as close as you can, a pump as close as you can, well lit places. Don't show up. I understand that, some people, oh crap, I'm all of a sudden in a situation where I got to get some gas. I get that. Pay attention. You manage your fuel a little bit better than that. Be smart. Go to the places that you can control, like a Marathon or a Love's or something, a major place with lots of lighting and a lot of cameras. You show up to a place in the hood that's got bars on all the windows. Well, now, isn't that right there just setting yourself up for trouble? Unless, of course, you're fishing for bad guys, but that's neither here nor there. Staying away from that is absolutely the best thing that you can possibly do. If you don't have to be in a bad environment, don't choose the bad environment. You can wind up there, and it's not a good thing. But get your head screwed on correctly too.
We were on Los Olas Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale years ago, and I wanted to get fuel before we jump back on the interstate, and we pull in this gas station, Mike, and there's a guy behind the bulletproof glass because Los Olas Boulevard is one of the wealthiest areas of the country. At that point in time, somebody told us the property taxes started at $600,000 a year. But when you cross the rail line, it is literally the wrong side of the tracks, but there's no fuel over the other way. So we stop, and I go up to the pump say you have to pay, at the cashier. The credit card readers were down. So I go up there, and here's this kid behind this bulletproof glass bawling his eyes out. And I'm like, hey man, can you turn the pump on here? What's the matter? He's like, I just got robbed, and blah, blah, blah. And as he's saying that, the next gas station over, shots are fired. And they're getting robbed, and we're looking at the guys who robbed the first gas station. We got back in the car and said to my wife, I said, yeah, we'll just get gas part way up I-95. We're out of here.
Fuel management.
Yeah. Well, and one of the best ones is Tony Blauer. For those of you new to the podcast, this is a pretty crazy story. This lady calls Tony Blauer a few years ago and says, you saved my life last night. And I took one of your workshops, whatever it was, 10, 15 years ago. And he said, well, how did I save your life? And she said, well, I left work. The sun had already gone down. I'm on the interstate. I'm on a conference call on my phone. So I'm trying to pay attention to the conference call. The dashboard goes off, need fuel. She gets off the interstate. She pulls into a gas station, gets out of her car, realizes she's in the hood, and that 3 bad guys have now taken an interest in her and are moving towards her position while she's on the phone on this conference call. So she hits mute on the mic, and pardon my French here, but this is pretty much how it went down. She starts screaming into the phone, you fucking assholes, turn my fucking credit card back on. I paid this fucking credit card in full last week. My car's out of fuel. I've got no fucking cash. Turn my fucking credit card back on. The three guys walked away. Car had no fuel in it. Credit card didn't work. She had no cash. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best examples I've ever freaking heard.
I'm telling you, it's master manipulation. Master manipulation. It's a great way to do it. Way to make yourself look like a unnecessary target.
So I got a couple, since you put on so many miles, Mike, I'm curious, can you share with the audience any, real stories of your road travels where you saw somebody who had no situational awareness and ended up in a, let's say, a bad spot, uncomfortable spot?
Yeah. So, well, it was a few years ago. You and I called you right after it happened. I was on my way back, from Virginia. Yeah. And stopped in, I think it was Charlottesville. And I'm standing there, you don't have a whole lot of options once you get to a certain side of Charlottesville. So I'm going ahead and getting gas and standing there with my hand on my pistol. And this homeless guy's walking up and he's not looking real cool. I gave him the hard eye, so he automatically just deviated away from me. And he went to the lady on the far side. She's pumping and she's oblivious. And he starts asking her for money, and she just didn't even look at him, just kind of dismissed him. I'm sorry, honey, I don't have any cash. And he goes nuts and he's banging on the hood of the car and he's freaking out and yelling and everything. And I kind of pop my head around and I'm like unbuttoning the bottom of my shirt going, great, I'm going to have to shoot this guy out here. And then I see something out the corner of my eye and I look over and it's a Virginia State Trooper. I'm like, what the hell? And then I look to my right and it's another one. Well, this dude had just been released, apparently, from jail like that morning. And they knew this guy really, really well, to the point where they called him by his first name. He stops, looks at them, turns around, sees the other one, and just kind of relaxed and put his hands on the hood of the car, and they came over and they wrapped him up. And I'm just standing there with my hand on my piece until they walked up, and I was like, okay. And yeah, the troopers were both like, yeah, hey, thanks for covering that lady. But we've been looking for this guy since he got out this morning, because he is nuts with a capital N.
At some point during tonight's broadcast, you got to tell the story about the homeless guy who came at you when you hadn't even had a cup of coffee yet.
Oh, dude, that guy. Yeah, that guy was begging to die, man.
You can pick an appropriate spot to slide it in there. I do want to mention this. So, hey, Alabama says dog food is half what's wrong with our pets' health. It's garbage, no matter the brand. And that's exactly true, which is why my wife makes all of our dog food from, the same stuff we eat, basically meat and more meat. So with that being said, just your quick tips, Mike, on when you pull into a gas station, what are the quick checks that you visually do before you get out of your truck?
Well, the first thing that I usually do is one, again, make sure that you're not in a high risk neighborhood if you can at all avoid it. I look for good lighting, plenty of lighting, cameras, and other people being there. Now, of course, at some of the hours that I drive, I can't necessarily get, other people being there. And it's weird, if any of you have ever, driven into a Buc-ee's for gas at 3 o'clock in the morning. That is the weirdest thing that you've ever seen. Seeing a Buc-ee's completely deserted. That is an odd thing. That's just a little side note there. But yeah, making sure that you've got all that. I look around and also make sure that there's nobody just hanging around. If somebody's just clearly hanging around, that's somebody you're going to want to keep an eye on. Grab a pump further away from them. But at the same time, once you get out, project strength just with your attitude and keeping your head on a swivel, looking around, and remain in the moment. Don't just get sucked in by the weapon of mass distraction and what's going on around you. Okay.
It's amazing how it doesn't matter, whether it's a human or a four-legged critter, that they all hone in on somebody who's not looking. They all want that element of surprise. Do you remember the video that Philip played at Waft where he showed every tiger in the world, when they lean over and their ears flop forward, they have a fur pattern on the back of their ears, looks like eyeballs. So that crocodile who has a brain the size of a walnut thinks that the tiger's still looking at them instead of trying to ambush them at the water hole. It's
all a fact that predators are going to hunt water hole.
Your audio was kind of cutting out there, Mike.
The predators got at the water hole. That's it. That's what's going to wind up happening. You're at a water hole. You're getting gas. It's a good place to hunt.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So going into segment number 2, it's titled Smart Vehicle Setup and Habits. So some things like setting your car doors to lock immediately when you get in the car. And I'll tell you a quick anecdote on that one in just a second. But basically, when you get in the car, you want to block that quick access by somebody who's trying to be opportunistic, while you're buckling up, starting your car, whatever the case may be. And as I mentioned already, don't leave your purse or valuables on the front seat somewhere visible. That will tempt a lot of them, to either open your door, reach through a window, whatever the case may be, smash the window to steal your pocketbook. And then the other part, which I already touched on, is make sure you have a way to get a fast exit. So instead of pulling up behind somebody, I've had to sometimes I do a U-turn, I back up to them so I'm still facing away and I can get away if need be, sort of thing. So, Mike, once you've got in your car, do you do anything else, or do you just get out of there and not lollygag, sort of thing?
Yeah, I usually, once I get back in the car, I'm usually gone. Now, of course, the first thing that I usually wind up doing as soon as I get into the car is I pull my pistol out because, of course, I appendix carry, and you know what? I work as much I work out. So from that what you will, I'll pull my pistol out, tuck it up underneath thigh. So now I just got into my truck and I've got my pistol in hand. So and then drop gear and drive.
So you're getting some feedback loop on you again, a little bit of static as well.
Really not doing anything different.
Stay right there, don't move. It's working right in a second. I'm kind of joking, not joking, but either way.
Hold my mouth right.
Yeah. So here's a weird one for you. We pulled into a gas station in Daytona Beach. I was driving a 3/4 ton 4x4 Suburban. The dealer I bought it from said I was the only consumer who bought one other than law enforcement that particular year. I don't know if it was a joke or if it's true, but it doesn't matter. You couldn't see through it. The tint was so dark, Mike, that was in the glass. When I moved back to Texas, they didn't want to give me an inspection sticker because they said, your windows are too dark. And I said, it's from the factory. And he's like, well, I don't care if it came from the factory. I said, it's in the glass. Like it's not like a film that can be taken off. And when he saw that, he finally ended up giving it to me. But anyway, we're at the gas station, and all of a sudden I hear my wife hollering at somebody. I come around the back corner because, again, you can't see through the truck. And here's this guy reaching in the window trying to take her pocketbook away from her. And you never know what you're going to run into in Daytona Beach, which is why we call it Dirtona. And I had to draw on the guy to get him to back off and go away. And he gave me some sob story of how he was hungry, whatever. But it can happen.
Yeah, in the whole there.
It happens fast, right? So what about valuables that are inside your truck? Are they always hidden and out of sight?
Fluxing through. Seen this my truck. I want area all time.
Your audio's. It plays, it doesn't play. It plays, it doesn't play. It comes through. Nope.
It's got interconnection.
Yeah, it's not. It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Being someone in truck, I have a hard time finding stuff truck.
We got about maybe a quarter of the words you spoke there. In out.
Oh. Why?
Again.
Okay, how about that?
Yep, gotcha now.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, good luck finding anything in my truck. I have a hard enough time finding the stuff, and I know where it is.
That's freaking funny. That's good. Well said. Well said. What are you? Does your truck have any features that you use in particular, as far as security is concerned? Like Cindy's Escalade, you literally close the door and it's locked instantly, and which is great, for this sort of thing. Is there any other features you can think of with new cars that do things that protect you? No.
I mean, that's one of the top end things. I would say one of the big things that you have to be cognizant of is to remember that you also have a panic button on your key fob.
True.
That thing starts beeping, people are going to start looking, and these people do this stuff in anonymity.
Yeah, good point. I hadn't thought of that in a while. That's definitely a good point. Let's go into segment number 3, spotting threats and disrupting attacks. So this is, specifically looking for warning signs, people loitering that aren't buying anything. Mike has already mentioned that one. They're not buying gas. They're not buying stuff in the convenience store. They're just hanging around. They're eyeing up people. They're eyeing up vehicles. That's usually not the best sign. And the other part, which we've touched on already, is you want to make sure that the bad guy knows that you see him, that he's not going to be able to pull a surprise move on you. And you want to be confident. Like Mike said, they always go after the soft targets, not the hard targets. The target hardening works. Doesn't matter if it's your home, your body, your vehicle, whatever the case may be. But sometimes they don't give a shit, and they're going to approach you anyway. And I'm going to have Mike explain this a little bit. We've done training and scenarios with flashlights where you're trying to interrupt somebody's OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act. And a flashlight's a great way of doing it. Speaking at a really high volume is good. Telling them back off, go away. But explain the value of interrupting somebody's OODA loop, Mike.
All right. So the way the way the brain works is the OODA loop, and it's a continuous in the human brain, observing something or orienting to it. You're making a decision as to what you're going to do with the information that you got, and then you're going to act on that. But if I can interrupt that in your thought process, it resets back to every time. Right. So now if I start actually flying you, if you're approaching, I hit the face flash, my oop is fast. Yours just keeps setting because things. But the best part is not only do I hit you with it, and leave it on, now I turn it off. You blink a couple of times, you got big purple spots in front of your eyes. I'm going to hit you again with it, right? I'm going to hit you repeatedly with it, and I'm going to start moving laterally, right? So your OODA loop can't keep up with the new information that's coming in because I keep resetting it on you. And it's not just speaking loudly. You speak at various pitches. So you can start out loud and then just do something really, really soft, right? So then they reset and they're like, wait, their brain is saying, wait, what was said there? I got to go back to that. So you start varying things on them, and it really screws with them. And that's the big point of taking the initiative on the OODA loop, which is why, remember, when we were at WAFT, there was a couple of those times where old boy is backing away and I'm approaching him while he's backing away. He's trying to extract himself from the situation, and I was pushing on him because I had hit dominance on the OODA loop at that point, and I wanted him to remember in that situation that I was the dominant one, and I'm pushing him out of the area, and he couldn't quite figure out why I was doing that, and I explained it to him, and he was like, "Oh, crap, that's like a really good idea." I was like, "Yeah, you kept on feeling the pressure from me while I'm coming towards you." Now, the distance between us was still staying at about 22 feet, but he's backing away, and I'm pushing forward on him, just to remind him, yeah, you do need to leave.
Yeah, good point. So for those of you who don't know, Mike has had multiple combat deployments, 30 plus years now as a master EOD tech, 23 in the Army doing that. Mike, I'm curious if you have any examples while you were in a combat zone of you or somebody on your team interrupting somebody's OODA loop, like a bad player, bad actor, that diffused a situation.
I don't know about diffusing the situation. The absolute best method for ending everyone's OODA is to throw a bang grenade in the room. Yeah, you chuck a 9-banger in a room, I guarantee you everybody in their OODA loop, it's just not working anymore. It keeps on doing the orient portion, and it resets at orient or observe. It never gets to orient. It just keeps on ticking for about 6-7 seconds. So yeah, that'll do it. We did have it wasn't me, but it was the I was out with the special forces team, and the team leader, we were having a good meeting with a couple of the tribal leaders, and the SF team leader, he was really, really good. The guy should have been a lawyer, and I understand now why a lot of special forces officers actually do become lawyers, because this guy could do the mental jujitsu like there was nobody's business. And he got to the point where we had one of these tribal elders who was being very, very cantankerous towards us. And so this team lead, he got onto this guy and he kept on hitting him with questions, but then before the guy could even come around to actually answering a question, he would have hit him with another question and resetting the guy. So he asserted mental dominance over the situation and was just running the entire thing as we go.
Yeah, right on. That's awesome. So that wraps up the first 3 segments of the night. So we're going to move into segment number 4, and I'll give you all an update on our element server towards the end. So segment 4, mastering mindset with color codes. This is one of my favorite topics. So Colonel Jeff Cooper, it actually started out as the combat mindset, and then it kind of evolved into the, mindset colors. Is an easy way to, I guess, have the right posture at the right time in whatever environment that you're in, starting with white, which if you're at home and it's white, it means you don't have a care in the world. You're not worried that you're going to be attacked, anything like that. Versus when you step out the door all the time, for that matter, you should always be at least in yellow. So the way I describe people, what's yellow, you're prepared, you're alert, but you're relaxed, good situational awareness. The way I always describe, Mike, is, well, you look both ways before you cross the street. That's condition yellow, that you're paying attention so that you don't, stumble into something. But then it goes to orange, which means that you're now at a level where you're alert to probable danger and ready to take action. And then red, shit's hitting the fan. This is action mode, and you're focused on the emergency at hand. And then this didn't come from Colonel Jeff Cooper. Somebody else tacked this on afterwards, and they called it condition black. So people go into a complete panic and they shut down, like they black out essentially. And there's a number I like to throw out on condition black. So 70% of Floridians who die from a gunshot wound each year are shot by their own weapon. And the reason they're shot with their own weapon, not because of suicide, but because they pulled it, they went into condition black, somebody took the gun away from them and shoots and kills them. It's not an uncommon thing anywhere, but especially here. So obviously, condition orange, things are getting elevated. There's sketchy people around you and stuff, but you want to make sure you don't go from condition orange straight to that condition black. And Mike, what are the choices for people? They can do scenario training through Tony Blauer's online courses. They could do hands-on sessions with Tony Blauer. They can do hands-on sessions at WAFT. but there's not a whole lot of people out there that do physical in-person hands-on scenario training for private individuals, is there?
No, scenario training is actually kind of difficult. Now, I'll tell you one place that we or one venue that we have been seeing a lot of it for, and this is called stress inoculation for anybody out there in the that doesn't know about this. And stress inoculation, what we're trying to do, and this is the cornerstone of like the special operations training method, is we want to stress you until we can find what your limit is. And once you learn how to train people in this, you can really identify where somebody's limit is. And I want to push you just up to that envelope. And I'm going to keep you there for a while until you get comfortable at that level. And then we're going to move it up little bits at a time. Right. And eventually, it was weird after I got out of EOD school. I didn't think that it was really much of a thing. But then you get out to places, you're on the job, you wind up out at these places. And everybody's losing their freaking minds. And the two bomb techs show up and you're just, so what are we doing today? And everybody's like, how can you stay calm during this? Dude, this is nothing. So, but the one you that I'm seeing a lot is, and this, in MAG, we very have pushed medical training first. First, learn heal and learn to harm. And I push that absolutely every. And medical training, a lot more good trauma training and the like is getting to the point where they're putting more pressure on you. You're not seeing nearly as much medical training these days that's just, okay, we're all going to sit at and go through, collegiately. No, they're into scenarios and people screaming and it's dark and there's flashlights and there's blinking strobes and all kinds of stuff like that. You're seeing there's blood everywhere and putting you in a stressful situation, and we want to keep you in a stressful situation. And that is stress inoculation. So it doesn't have to be specific scenario training, but you can go and you can get your stress inoculation. You can get it through some medical training. You can get it through, you can even get it, some firearms instructors are doing stress inoculation training as well. But I can definitely tell you almost all the medical good March and TCCC, TECC type training, they are really, really heavily pushing stress inoculation these days.
Right on. Our mutual friend, Dave Kemp, I don't know if you know, he's sworn back in. So he was an officer, SWAT team leader. He retired. They brought him back as a private contractor. Now he's sworn back in again as a law enforcement officer. And he's got a method of simulating the loss of fine motor control when you're under stress, where he has buckets of ice and he makes people put their hands in the bucket of ice till the point that they want to cry. And then, having them operate their firearms with hands that just aren't doing what people expect them to do. It's an interesting way. He told me about it, so I decided to try it. And it definitely, it changes things pretty drastically as far as your accuracy is concerned.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You have to force manipulations.
It's another interesting piece of stress inoculation, but I got 3 questions for you in a row here. So the first one, what are your recommendations for people to stay in condition yellow when they're at gas stations? Like not fade into condition white and disconnect, but to keep focus, because we seem to have attention deficit disorders everywhere these days.
Well, and this is what I tell a lot of my students is you got to be an adult. Okay. Be in the moment. You only got to be there for 10 minutes. Okay. If you can't be in the moment for 10 minutes, you need slapped around. Start looking at specific things and attention to detail training. You could do it all by yourself. Start looking at people that are around. And the first things you want to do, of course, look at their hands. If their hands are tucked away, all right, I'm going to make a mental note. What kind of shoes does that person have? Right? What color are the shoes and what kind of logo is on the shoe? I don't care what specific brand it is or anything, but it's a mental exercise. Start going through. First things first, look at their hands. Look at their shoes real quick. And that That means absolutely nothing. But then move up, memorize a face. Okay. What's this person doing? What's this person look like? Move to the next person and just start bouncing. Even if those people have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on, right? 80-year-old woman standing there pumping gas in her old tuna boat of a friggin' Chrysler. Probably not going to get robbed by her, but go through the mental exercises with it anyway. And you will find out at a certain point, once you have been doing those mental exercises a while, you start doing them without requiring the mental band to do them.
Yeah. So I'm not joking or being facetious here. So Mike's been, a bomb technician, master bomb technician for over 3 decades now, and he has every single finger, which is not a joke. That's not common with that many years. And the reason he has all of his fingers is because he's paying attention to everything constantly. It's he's honed it into a fine operating system. Mike,
sorry, what were we talking?
Well, then you got the TBIs. That's another subject. But give me some examples of things that happen at gas stations that should push somebody from condition yellow to condition orange.
Condition. Well, one, if you start seeing the people that are just hanging out, that's when you need to step up a notch, right? Because okay, now we've from people that are clients to I've got a potential threat. So now I'm gonna take a look at that potential threat and my eyes on that potential threat. Now, are you going to keep your eyes on that potential threat exclusively? No, you're going to continue to scan it, right? But you're going to keep coming back to that potential threat. Keep scanning, looking for other threats, but keep coming back to that one threat. That there, if you identify a potential threat, that's when you start moving up.
Yeah, no, well stated. I'm not kidding you. When you come forward and you're stationary, the audio is okay, but when you move back and forth, it's something is causing an interruption there. I see a few comments from people that are noticing as well. But anyway, with that being said, the next question is, I'm assuming this has happened to you, whether it was on a deployment or whether you were crisscrossing the country. Can you give us any anecdotal examples of somebody who's gone into condition black and you've been able to snap them out of condition black because they were at risk and potentially yourself as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my wife and I were dating. We were driving down Florida. We were in Destin, and we had we were near Georgia, Alabama, when they were putting in the bypass that goes down to Destin and Fort Walton Beach, and we were driving through there, and local police car way past us. Well, there had been a wreck right there. One of the schools, 2 SUVs had smacked nose to nose into each other. I thought it was a couple of minivans. That's how hard they hit. So the noses were all buckled in, sticking out that far. It was no bueno. Anyway, I come walking up, and the local police officer, he's standing there, just standing there. Now this kid's probably been out of the academy 2-3 weeks.
Oh wow.
He is in condition black. His mouth's hanging open, his eyes are wide open, and he's got no idea what the next step is at all. And he's just standing there, locked up. I come walking up. I got my aid bag over my shoulder, walked up, looked at him, kind of did one of these, said, "Oh, great." Slapped him on the shoulder. He kind of comes out of it, looks at me. I said, "Hey, you check on the women over there in that vehicle. I'll check on the people in this vehicle. Ready, go." He goes, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Wow.
And it's right. It comes down training, and that's it. You've got to train doing that kind of stuff. And he just didn't have the next step. He was expecting to be told to do, and in that case, I gave him the jump start by telling him what to do.
Oh, that's a great example. Appreciate you sharing that, Mike, for sure. So that's the end of segment 4. Segment 5 is titled Handling Confrontations and Crossfire. So, if you're confronted or robbed, stay calm, comply if you're unarmed, to avoid escalating it into a situation where you're unarmed and can't defend yourself. But look for safe chances to escape, or call for help. A lot of these people, yeah, they're assholes, they're thieves and stuff, but they don't really want to, get jacked up on a murder charge. And a lot of times, if you can get a step on them and get away, they're probably not going to chase you. Now, for armed responses, I am not an attorney. I am not giving you legal advice. Every jurisdiction is completely different. I can tell you here in Florida, our stand your ground law, we were the first ones in the country to get it in 2006, is 3 sentences long. And in a nutshell, if you feel that your life is in imminent danger, even if it isn't, your perception that your life is in danger is all that it takes to essentially allow you to use deadly force. But there's some limits to everything. And let me give you a good example of one. There was a guy, and I've told the story a couple times on air. He pulls into a gas station in Jacksonville. A SUV with 4 black kids pulls in, blasting rap music, and he's cussing at them, telling them to turn their shitty music off, and they're telling him to F off. And he claimed that he saw one of the kids in the back seat brandish a weapon, so he dumped 14 rounds into the side of the SUV. At that point in time here in Florida, he felt like his life was in danger. That qualifies for stand your ground. However, when the kids peeled away from the gas station and he dropped the empty mag and put a fresh one in, he put 14 in the back of the SUV as it was leaving. So they're not a threat at that point in time. You can't claim stand your ground when somebody is retreating like that. So in Florida, every firearms charge that you're convicted on carries a minimum 20-year sentence, and concurrent, not consecutive. You got 80 years out of it, and there was no gun in the truck. So, it's
done.
Yeah, it's a pretty good example of somebody thinking, because we've got strong castle doctrine, strong stand your ground laws, but there's always a reckoning. And, at the end of the day, like, I guess you could say the rule of thumb is don't draw your gun unless your life's in immediate danger, or if you have stand your ground, perceive your life to be in danger. And then the next part to it is, and most people are pretty blown away by this number, and I know that Mike knows what it is, but for the number of shots fired by law enforcement officers, this number floats a little bit each year, but not a whole lot. It floats between 17 and 19% of shots fired by law enforcement officers in America hit their target. It gets even worse when you go to the military side of things, where it's about 10 points less. It's between 7 and 9 shots actually connect with a person. And that's out of 100, by the way. So it's 7 to 9%, 17 to 19% for law enforcement. And Mike will tell you,
on the military side, they're also throwing that into there with belt-fed weapons as
correct.
Well. Which is, hey, to whom it may concern.
So actually, that's an interesting. Let's just go down this rabbit hole just for a second. Because of the strategies that we used in Vietnam, and I know you weren't in Vietnam, but you'll be able to speak to it. I looked it up, and golly, this number is what the government publishes. They said that there was one VC kill for every 50,000 shots. When I first started, like, there ain't no friggin' way.
Yeah, there is.
But explain that. I mean, that's, kill everything,
right? So they virtually abandoned marksmanship back then. It was all volume of fire. And honestly, having been in jungles before, yeah, I can kind of see it. But then you move up to the GWAT, the Global War on Terror. Great example, Battle of Fallujah. They had this huge investigation at the end of the Battle of Fallujah, because they started finding all these jihadis that had been popped with a single round to the head. And they automatically started a war crimes investigation, thinking, oh God, a bunch of these Marines were just executing people. No, it turns out that we had the first mass usage of magnified optics put onto general infantry rifles with the ACOGs. The ACOGs were all over the place at that time. Nice 4-power ACOGs. And what's in an urban fight? What's the one part of a bad guy that usually winds up popping up? This portion right here. Yeah. So why were they winding up with holes in their foreheads? Because that was the part of you that you gave me. And I've got a magnified optic. Why am I going to spend so many rounds? I don't need to. Pop, done.
I love it.
So those numbers that you've got, they're skewed. And the GWAT put a lot of those numbers on its head, because that is when we started putting magnified optics on general, regular, everyday weapons. Now you'll still get a lot of, okay, we're going to dump a bunch of fire onto this guy so that another fire team can maneuver on them, right?
So, question for you: shit's going down at a gas station, shots are being fired, and you have the opportunity to put your car engine between you and the shots, or somebody else's car engine. Obviously, that's probably like the optimum choice if you're close to the vehicles by the pumps. What are your other choices, though? And there's a reason I'm asking this, is because I've heard people say, well, you hide behind the gas pump. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if that's really like the best place that I want to be when shots are being fired. But,
I mean, if it's all you got, it's better than nothing. It really is. But I'd rather be behind, have an engine between me and that, or the axle, or even if part of the frame, A frame, B frame, C frame, portions like that. If I have to. But the engine is the place. The biggest point is learn how to get low, kids. And by low, I mean very low. So virtually every gas pump is up on what? It's up on a riser of concrete about this high.
Good point.
And I have personally laid behind a curbstone on my back with bullets tugging at the rounds in my chest pouch while I'm laying there going, oh my God, would you please kill this guy? Right? Yeah. You ever see like a lizard get really, really flat? A human being is capable of doing that. Trust me. And it's even better as soon as you empty your bladder and your bowels while that's happening. Yeah, you're able to get smaller.
There's a mental image for everybody right there. So,
hey, I'm here to tell you, there's no shame in that moment. There's no shame in that moment at all.
Can't imagine. So let's look at this from the perspective of somebody who's not armed, Mike. So if somebody's trying to rob you and you don't have a weapon on you, what's your first move?
Well, the question comes down to evaluate your opponent, right? Now, if it's somebody that they're in the moment, they're obviously like, hey, give me your car keys. They're very lucid. They're very calm, right? Give me your car keys. Give me your wallet. You know what you need to do in a situation like that? Probably hand them your car keys and your wallet, because they're not there to rob somebody. They're in a situation where they're trying to get out of it. You know what? If you're not armed, take it. That person's not going to kill you. Now, you're standing there with a tweaker who's freaking out, and they got, their pistola with the tweaker shakes. Buddy, you might want to start rethinking this whole situation at this point. You never know what a tweaker is going to do. You never know what a tweaker is going to do. You can never figure that out. So, in a situation like that, I don't know. If you've got some good hand-to-hand experience or something like that, close with and destroy. If not, hope to God, and you're unarmed. Flashlight for the OODA loop is great. A taser is great. But if you can, especially if you've got a taser and you need to be able to close distance, well, don't do that. Go ahead here. You know what? I've got this wallet. Oh, damn, I dropped it. Like the tactics that I was using up in New York City. Oh, damn, sorry, I dropped it. Right. If they bend down, they take you out of their eyesight. Yeah, you're going to catch that taser right in the neck. Which is where you're not supposed to hit somebody with a taser if anybody's asking. Okay. Right. This is not advice. Anyway, so yeah, it's situationally dependent each and every time. It depends on your level of training, what you can and cannot do, what tools you do have available to you. Like me, I am terrible at fighting, and I'm too old to be fighting now. That's why I carry a gun. So yeah, if it's a situation where where they're robbing you at gunpoint, you got no gun, man, you got to make a decision right then and there. Are they going to take your family? Are they going to take your kids? Probably not. Okay. Now, if they're intending to take your kids and all that, may just have to make that decision of I'm going to have to fight you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a ton of different contexts that could be happening in, for sure. You tweaked me on when you mentioned the OODA loop again, and some of our audience have heard this already, but Tony Blauer, lives in LA. A car rear ends him at a stoplight, pushes his car into the car in front of him. These three big guys get out of the car, and the driver, the way Tony describes it, really big guy, Tony's about my size. And the guy looks at his bumper and he looks at Tony and he says, "I'm going to kick your ass." And he starts walking towards Tony, and Tony's like, whoa, time out. There's 3 reasons I can't fight you. And the guy stopped, and Tony knocked him out with the first punch. The other 2 guys got back in the car, and the problem. So the guy actually stopped to listen to why he had 3 reasons that he couldn't fight him.
Right. And he's still wondering what 2 and 3 are.
He's masterful. Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. And the guy knows his business. That's for sure. And that brings up the situation where the guy tried to rob me before I'd had my first cup of coffee.
It's a great story.
Brought up. Yeah. Okay. So I don't even remember where I was when this happened now, but the bottom line was, if anybody that knows me knows, if I haven't had coffee, I'm in a killing mood at that point. Right. I am not a nice person to be around before my first cup of coffee. Virtually everybody that I know avoids contact with me. They avoid eye contact, all that kind of stuff. Let's get the first cup of coffee into my, he won't commit war crimes. So for some reason, my hotel was like all kinds of jacked up. There's no coffee in my room. I think we had a power outage or something like that. So there's no coffee downstairs either. I'm growling, I'm angry, and I got to walk like 3 blocks just to get to my truck, and it's cold. And I'm walking over there, and this guy steps out, and homeless dude, disheveled, super skinny, obviously not in good fighting shape. And he pulls a knife out and he says, "Give me your money." In the middle of the street. And wasn't it like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that, Chris? I think I was on my way to work or something like that. And it's just like stupid early in the morning. There's nobody around. I looked left. I looked right. We're standing in the middle of the street, and the guy's trying to rob me in the middle of the street. And I looked at him, and I reached in and I pulled my pistol out, and I just had it hanging by my side and said, "Give me a reason why I shouldn't just kill you right now. Because I haven't had any coffee, and I'm pretty sure that no jury is going to convict me." Dude's standing there looking at me, clips up his knife, puts it in his pocket, and walks away. I was like, "Good decision." And now I'm standing in the middle of the street, screaming at this guy who's running away that why are you trying to rob? So now I look like a crazy person. And of course, now is when other human beings come into the show. Yeah, because I'm screaming at this guy in the middle of the road at 5:30 in the morning, something like that, going, all right, now I look like the crazy person.
Right.
So I had to go get coffee.
So speaking of coffee, I can't recall if I told you this or not. So last year when we stayed at the Luxor for SHOT Show, you may remember that Cindy walked away with a good chunk of cash. Well, the Bellagio was owned by the same people. It's all MGM now. And we got comp.
We did that cash. I'm still mad at her.
Well, just follow me here. We got comp for SHOT Show a couple weeks ago for the hotel room, and super expensive. And they have no coffee makers because it is a fire hazard. Every other freaking hotel in Las Vegas in the world has it. They want to force you to go downstairs and wait an hour in line, or pay $50 for room service that takes over an hour for 4 cups of coffee. Have I got the solution for you and our coffee drinkers? Okay. So this thing will now forever go with us everywhere that we go. So just so you can see how small this is. Okay. Regular type of power cord like this, right? It plugs in like that. And you grab this sucker. Oof.
Chris, I'm the one who told you about that thing.
Well, I don't remember that.
That was what I picked up on the very first morning we were in Vegas last year.
Oh, well, I wasn't in your room, so I didn't see it. But anyway, these are like $29 now on Amazon, and they come with the the thingamabob that you put over your coffee cup as well. Oops, you're not supposed to take that out though, I guess.
No, you're not supposed to take that out. No, that was what we went and did, because remember, I told you that it's lucky that we're having breakfast together or lunch together, as opposed to you visiting me in lockup down at the county jail. Right. Because that was the only reason that you didn't have to come pick me up and post bail.
We should have probably learned from that, because we had a coffee maker in our room, but they must have just been instituting this MGM policy. Get this, and you ask the guy who's the manager of one of the coffee shops at the Bellagio. I said, how many murders do you have here every day? And he looks at me like, what do you mean? I said, well, no coffee in the rooms. You got to have at least 10 or 12 murders a day. And he was a super, super nice guy. He ended up giving us our order for free. We didn't, he didn't have to. And a couple other things he did for us. A super nice guy. But yeah, you're playing with your life when you do shit like that to coffee drinkers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, as a matter of fact, Stocking Mill and I were working together. We were going to try and actually do the SHOT Show package, and it was going to be one of those setups, and it was going to be a bunch of coffee and everything like that. And you could order it in advance, and it would be at the hotel for you. And they wound up getting sidetracked and weren't able to do it. So, yeah, I gotta get back on. Well, actually, you know what? You need to get on them, because they've heard enough from me about it. But yeah, you need to get back with them on that. And by the way, that's every hotel in Vegas now, unless you're in a suite or something like that.
Right.
If you're in the pleb rooms like I was in, yeah, that's every hotel. There's no microwave. There's no refrigerator. There's no coffee. They want you out of the room.
Yeah, it's obscene. It's very dangerous too. But anyway, with that being said, that's basically all 5 segments for tonight. And there's a reason I chose to do this tonight. We've got civil unrest, civil order breaking down around the country in these Democrat cities like, Minneapolis, Portland, and others. And I mean, they're basically, in my opinion, Mike, those are no-go zones. I wouldn't go anywhere near any of those places. And, we don't always have a choice where we stop at gas stations. And as a result of that, gas stations, again, are really highly opportunistic place for thieves to get you, to assault you, steal your shit, whatever. It's like Tony Blauer always says, the bad guys only want one of 3 things, body, possessions, or life. And, so it's not super complex. But anyway, at the end of the day, stay off your weapon of mass distractions. Put the phone away. You shouldn't have your phone in your hand. There's another reason, by the way, that you shouldn't have your phone in your hand. Even if you're holding your phone like this and you're not buried in it like this, the first autonomic response that your body will have when attacked is to clamp down on whatever's in your hand. So, for example, when we walk out of the grocery and we've just got, a handful of bags as opposed to a buggy full, I always carry them in my left hand, so my right hand is free to grab a weapon, if need be. But leave these in your car, have your car locked up, maintain that high level of situational awareness, make sure the people around you know that you're watching them. And you don't have to be a dick. It's not like you have to be staring at people to the point where they freak out and then they do start a fight with you. But paying attention more than anything will probably save you. So with that being said, Mike, I don't even remember if you've been on or not for this thing, but we do the Carnival Hero of the Day now, just before we do the conflicted question. So here we go.
This is new to me.
You haven't done this yet with us. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. Usually Randy's with me and we go 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So the Carnival Hero of the Day is a controversial personality, Jake Lang. And I spoke to Jake earlier today. And just so y'all know, next Thursday, Jake Lang and Mike Glover will be with me to discuss essentially the situation with religion and churches being attacked by, peaceful protesters, and the potential for religious violence to break out and become a regular thing here in America. So with that being said, Jake, as y'all may have seen, was assaulted last time he was in Minneapolis. He's going back to Minneapolis this weekend. And this is just a short video. It's 38 seconds. I'll play it and then I'll talk about more what's coming up on this weekend.
Team, that's why they're doing it. Yeah, well, they're not on the winning team. And when we come back to Minneapolis, because we're going back, we will not be dishonored and disgraced. The American Patriots, the Crusaders, will be showing up. We're working with all teams across the board. Anybody who stands for American values, Christian values, for white culture, white Western civilization, we need to take back and secure the area of Minneapolis from these absolute crazy leftist Antifa. They are disgracing one of America's greatest cities, and we need to take it back.
So I'll go ahead and stop that there because I'm going to put a link out for y'all to Jake's Give, Send, Go. We sent him some money ourselves today. This Give, Send, Go is specifically so that him and his cameraman have security this Saturday while they're in Minneapolis. Mike, did you see when he got attacked a few weeks ago and, somebody hit him over the head, a pretty serious gash on his head?
Oh, yeah.
I asked him about it and he was like, from one of the early hits that he took, he has very little, recollection because it was just chaos. His head was down and, he may be a bit of a polarizing individual, but you can't question where his heart lies at the end of the day. And he was a former J6er, of course, has been pardoned. I don't know if you want to add anything else to it, but he's got balls. I'll give him that.
Solid dude.
Yeah, exactly. So let me pull this up here quickly and I'll send it out to y'all right now. So this is Jake's Give, Send, Go. I don't know why they do this, by the way, but it says give 356. I don't know what the 356 is because it doesn't matter. You click on it, you can input whatever dollar value you want. You're not forced to pick a particular dollar value, but click that first one, the red button for give. And as you can see, if you don't get the link out of live chat, Jake Lang Hospital and Future Security Fund. So the Future Security is this coming Saturday that he'll be there. So hopefully your mic doesn't take a shit again, Mike, because here we are with the conflicted question. Give it a wheel.
Okay, back to what we were doing. Yes, conflicted question of the day. During his long trip home, Morgan was faced with a difficult moral situation. Is this working?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. He wanted to remain anonymous and keep a low profile as much as possible, but he saw two men forcing their will upon the weak. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, I had to do that. There was no one around but himself to try and stop these men. He would either have to think of his family first and keep a safe distance, or relieve his conscience, and try to carry out justice. Justice for Gotham. Sorry. So if you were in Morgan's situation, would you get involved in other people's problems and put your life at risk? Or would you just keep safe, just keep walking home to your family? Hey, Dan on the Lion's Den, we love you, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for the cup of coffee.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Dan was awesome. Usually they are different calibers, if you're familiar with him. So he'll send us $5.56 or $7.62.
And Manic 47, he hit us up early on as well. I didn't get a chance to call him out.
Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out and say thank you for that for sure. So I'll go first because I've got a couple examples here. Number one, we used to live in a gated community in Daytona, and the ghetto Walmart was the closest one to us. And my son wanted to get something from Walmart. I don't shop at Walmart, but anyway, I took him there, and I had a nice sports car. I parked way far away from the doors. And as we're walking towards the entrance, there's this skinny black guy beating the shit out of this black girl. And Jack says to me, "Oh, we got another from Dano's. Go there. You go. Dano's in the house. 223." I love it. It's awesome. Dano's freaking awesome. Anyway, so this skinny black guy's beating the tar out of his girlfriend, and she's screaming. And Jack says to me, "Are you not going to intervene?" I said, "No, I'm absolutely not going to intervene. You see that cop car over there at the other entrance? We're going to go over there and tell him what's going on." He said, "Well, why is that?" I said, "Well, because I'm the earner in our home. And if I go down, who's going to look after you and your mother, both financially and otherwise? It's just not worth the risk. I'm not getting involved." Now, years ago would have been a different story, but this scenario here, for as per usual, there's always context that's not complete. So, if somebody was getting, jacked up and it looked like they were going to be murdered, I would have a very hard time walking away without doing something, especially if I'm armed. And I would say in that type of situation, yeah, I would intervene. Same as the one that at the ghetto Walmart, Mike. If that guy had a knife and was stabbing her or something like that, I was carrying. I would have shot him on sight without even a second thought. But every cop I know, and I'm sure you've seen this in your travels, will tell you straight up, I would rather be shot than stabbed. 95% of cops who are shot live. You get stabbed once, it's like a 50-50 chance of survival. You get stabbed 2 or more times, it drops to about 5%. And Dr. Mike has verified that number for me multiple times. So that's what I'm going to do. If I'm armed and they're in grievous danger, yeah, I'm going to take a run at them. If they're not in grievous danger, I would have to weigh it. So what would you do, Mike? You would throw a flashbang at them, disorient them, fuck up their OODA loop, and then shoot them, wouldn't you? Tell the truth.
That's because I have the option to be able to do those things because I carry flashbangs. Appropriate licensing is a beautiful thing. So yeah, of course, it's missing a lot of context and things like that. Do I actually am I in a situation where I think that I can actually take these guys or not? Now you saw what I did at Waft. Old boy pulled a pistol and started shooting girl. I was I think about 7 feet away, something like that. He caught a Bill Drill Plus, and yes. Yes, folks. A Bill Drill is supposed to be 6 rounds. This dude caught, I think it was like 9 rounds at point blank range.
Yep.
And I just kept on pumping him into him until he was flat. It worked. It worked out just fine. In this situation, yeah, of course, it's situational. Of course, as always. If I feel that I can take them with 0 risk, I'm going to take them. If there's going to be any risk towards me, I may have to keep on stepping. I'm a 50-50 on this one.
It's the context. It's it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the context is not always complete, right?
Yeah.
So
Also, it also depends on whether or not I have my Batman mask. Just forgot them.
Oh my God. That is too freaking funny. So a couple quick updates. Number one, head on over to carnivalt.com. Why do I push Carnivalt and Wasatch Wagyu? For a couple reasons. These are hardcore Americans. They're very generous. They support our fairly expensive ongoing expenses. So between software, subscriptions, the new server we just deployed, and ClearStar stuff, it's close to $10,000 a month just in recurring fees for those things to do what we do. So we don't get affiliate income from Carnivalt. We don't get affiliate income from Wasatch Wagyu. They give us a generous stipend, helps us defer those expenses. But obviously, we have to drive some value towards them. So a couple things. If you go to carnivalt.com, there is no coupon for the subscriptions because the subscriptions already have the prices are absolutely cut to the bone, number one. And number two, there are certain states, I don't know if you knew this or not, Mike, it was new news to me, that when you sell somebody a tangible product on a subscription, you're not allowed to raise the price for 12 months. So California, for example, has that. So as a result of that, if you sign up for a Carnivalt subscription, not only are you getting premium beef without all the bullshit in it, like mRNA and histamines and antibiotics, you're locking your price in for 12 months. And if you have any type of calamity that causes a power outage, you're not going to lose your meat because it's freeze dried and it's got a 25-year shelf life. So it's an amazing product in that regard. These are amazing hardcore. These are real Americans, TM Randy Nance. So can't say enough good things about Carnivalt. The food, the meat is best of the best. I thought, Mike, when we started working with these guys, that it was going to be like the ultimate prepper thing, right? Like you've got grade A protein, you put it on the shelf, you don't need any refrigeration. We're getting emails from people now saying they eat it on a daily basis, which is pretty amazing. So whether it's Carnivalt or Wasatch Wagyu, if you're an annual subscriber to the Guardians, you forward your receipt for over $99 to support at survivaldispatch.com. We give you a free 30-day extension to your annual membership every time you do that. So the people who signed up once for the Guardians then subscribe to Carnivalt, we don't get a penny from them ever again because each month they send us their subscription receipt and we just keep tacking the 30 days on. It's a good relationship that we have. We want to make sure it's mutually beneficial. So when you go to carnivalt.com, use the code EATMEAT except for subscriptions. And then you've got our friends at Wasatch Wagyu. There's no substitute for beef, straight up. You may have noticed when I scrolled down last time, there was a guy in there named Josh Bryant. Josh Bryant is the smartest guy in the strength and conditioning world, bar none. And he did a master's thesis on the difference between eating beef versus chicken, pork, and other sources of protein, and was able to show that there was a very tangible difference in the athletes' results by eating beef. So wasatchwagyu.com, again, when we play the closing video, I'll put it back in the live chat again, but this is the most supple. You've never had jerky like this. Like there's no work to eat this jerky because it's Wagyu. It's got a high fat content, good fat content. By the way, Mike, Cindy comes in a while ago. She got a big black bag full of this and she's like, "Oh, it looks like Greg sent you some more jerky." And I said, "Oh, that's great." And she looks at me and she says, "You know, that's not for meals. That's for snacks, right?" And so I had it in my arms like this and I looked at her and I said, I'm not agreeing to that. She came home that night and she said, "What'd you have for lunch?" I said, "I made a Wasatch Wagyu dill pickled jerky mustard sandwich and it was freaking outstanding." So it's for meals as well. So,
I mean, you put it on bread, therefore it's a meal.
It's a meal. But the discount code, these guys are so generous. SD25, you get 25% off. If you spend over $100, you'll get a 4-ounce bag of their traditional jerky, which, by the way, I think I was telling Mike, or maybe I was telling somebody else, Nutrient Survival make the best freeze-dried mashed potatoes in the world. It's freaking insane. So last night, Mike, my dinner was, I made a bowl of Nutrient Survival mashed potatoes, and then I threw a whole bunch of Wasatch Wagyu beef jerky in it, It was over the top amazing. It was so good that Cindy even ate some of it. I said, see, it's not just for
Oh, and she's picky.
not just
She's
for
picky about what she eats.
yeah. I mean, she's not anorexic or anything like that, but it's got to be high quality meat or my wife will not eat it, period. Full stop. So anyway, we appreciate it when y'all go to, Carnival's website and Wasatch Wagyu's website, order something. Again, get a subscription from Carnival, lock your prices in, high quality stuff, and just keep sending me the receipts. Support at survivaldispatch.com if you're an annual subscriber to the Guardian. So just a quick update on that. When we started moving our community off of Signal onto my Element server, my Element Matrix server, that is super hardcore lockdown, and it's also my implementation of the open source software, which I had already tweaked. We started getting what are called DDoS attacks, so distributed denial of service. So a DDoS is all about a very low-brow attack where people try to overwhelm your server so that it runs out of resources and nobody can access it and use it, so on and so forth. Typically, the only time you see something like that is when the attacker doesn't have a way to penetrate the server. So we noticed right away that we were getting a lot of probes. Then the attacks came, and I worked with the developers of Element from Saturday and Sunday. We put some changes in place Sunday night. Mike, I've now 3-4 times, I've watched 6,000 to 8,000 bots make 4 requests each every second. So you're talking, well over 100,000, get requests from our login page. And the changes we made are deflecting it very nicely. So our shit's never been compromised. It's never been broken into, knock wood. And it's running like a top. They'll come back for sure. They'll take another run at us. But the powers that be are not happy that they can't read your messages between you and other Guardians and us. And that much is pretty obvious. So we're also being proactive because Mike will tell you, we got strikes, we got deplatformed. Every time we spoke out
So
against
many things,
the election 2020, the Charlie 19 jabs, all of that stuff, it was one after another. I just went and had a look, Mike. Like, we've got 446,000 subscribers on our big YouTube channel. We are now getting more views on our small YouTube channel that has 4,900 subscribers. They've completely destroyed our big channel because of things I already mentioned, plus guns. We had like 1,300 firearms videos there. But anyway, if you haven't joined up for the Guardians, it's only $7.99 a month or $79.99 a year. You get 2 months for free. We've got about 20 channels now. We've got stuff like prepping for your fur babies. We've got survival and prepping channels. We've got intel channels. We've got a women only channel called the Guardian Angels. And it's, like I say, it's an amazing community. Can't thank everybody, for all the support in building this community, because it wasn't me. I put the infrastructure in place, but the people did it. The information sharing is absolutely fantastic. So with that being said, they also get access to the SDEN system. So get this into you, Mike. Maybe like 5-6 weeks ago, the emergency broadcast system went down for 24 hours in 31 states. So I thought, you know what? This is a perfect time for us to do an SDENS test. So Survival Dispatch Emergency Notification System. So when we send out SHTF, notifications, alerts, it goes to your email. It goes to the members only section of our Substack, which is survivaldispatch.news, which is where you sign up to be a Guardian. It goes to the SDENS channel on our Signal group. It's the only one that's still left active. It goes to the Element, which is our Element Matrix server, the new server. It goes to that SDENS channel. It also goes to the POClink radios. I have one over here. By the way, Mike, new POClink radios are coming that also allow you to make calls over Wi-Fi, which is pretty cool because 911 and all 3 major carriers went down in the Bay Area a couple weeks ago, and all people had was their internet connection through their cable provider or Starlink. What a perfect usage scenario for the POClink radio. So I've got the prototypes on their way to me. Should have them by next week. But anyway, at the end of the day, the community, the channels that are super secure and private, and the emergency notifications are the big things. There's more to the membership, but those are the big things. And I appreciate everybody's support who signed up for that. I think that's it. I think I covered all the bases for tonight, Mike. So
And we also have a heck of a lot of fun picking on people over there too.
Yeah, there's some of that going on.
And let's face it, all right. And a lot of people miss this. One of the biggest preps that you need to have in the preparedness world is humor. If you leave humor aside, you will go insane.
True story.
Humor is a prep.
Humor, entertainment, and hygiene are probably the three biggest things that get left. Yeah. So
yeah.
Randy and Jeff and I will be back tomorrow night with the next episode in the Long War series. Tuesday, I've got Carmen. Isn't that awful? I'm trying to remember her last name because it's hyphenated. Give me 2 seconds here. I don't want to screw
Carmen
it.
Miranda?
No, Carmen Maria Montiel. She's running for office in Texas. She's originally from Venezuela. She's coming on next Tuesday to discuss how everything she's seeing right now paralleled the communists taking over Venezuela, and she's pissed about it and doesn't want to see us lose our country and her home now. So she's coming on next Tuesday. Then next Thursday, Jake Lang, Mike Glover, myself, possibly Keith Graves might join us as well, which is basically the war on Christianity, the war on religion, and the need for maybe Crusades 2.0 might be a necessary thing. But that's it, Mike. We're good. If everybody out there could please like, share, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate it. God bless our law enforcement. God bless our troops. God bless America. Enjoy the video. It's a long one tonight, but it's a kick-ass song.
What are you doing out here?
Oh man, just making them around.
You and Michael been after them turkeys.
Shoot, yeah. I've been chasing them. Michael's been killing them all over the country.
Speaking of the country, man, I was in there watching the daggum news, and it's unbelievable, unreal what this country has come to. You know what I mean?
You're right about that. It's crazy. It ain't the country I grew up in, I can tell you that.
I know.